Hello, I'm Sunny. I am an actor on General Hospital, and many people really love both me and our General Hospital drama. So I've come here to share updates about my beloved General Hospital. Everyone, please subscribe and support me. If you do, I will keep coming every day with new updates for you. General Hospital spoilers reveal that Trina Robinson may be standing on the edge of a life-changing chapter, one that could reshape not only her future in music, but also the direction of her heart. While her relationship with Kai Taylor has carried its share of sweet moments and difficult obstacles, an unexpected new arrival may be about to turn everything upside down. As fresh opportunities begin opening before Trina, another possibility quietly emerges beneath the surface, one filled with creative passion, emotional connection, and undeniable chemistry. That possibility comes in the form of Simon, an influential music producer whose entrance into Port Charles may prove far more significant than anyone initially imagined. If the early signs are any indication, this new connection could grow into something that changes Trina's personal and professional life forever. Simon officially made his debut as a recurring character during General Hospital's Wednesday, July 15th episode, and his arrival immediately hinted that he wasn't simply passing through town. Instead, viewers can expect to see much more of him in the days, weeks, and months ahead as his presence becomes increasingly woven into Trina's evolving storyline. His introduction came at the perfect moment, just as one of the biggest days of Trina's life had finally arrived. Months earlier, Brooklyn Quartermain had been deeply moved after hearing Trina perform at Charlie's Pub, recognizing a spark of genuine talent that deserved to be seen by a much larger audience. Believing wholeheartedly in the young woman's potential, Brooklyn worked tirelessly behind the scenes to arrange a professional showcase that could launch Trina toward the music career she had only dreamed about. It was a moment filled with hope, anticipation, and the promise that everything Trina had worked for might finally begin paying off. Of course, dreams rarely come without fear, and as the showcase drew closer, Trina found herself overwhelmed by a wave of anxiety that threatened to silence her before she ever stepped onto the stage. Standing only moments away from the microphone, self-doubt crept into her thoughts, making the pressure feel almost unbearable. Brooklyn quickly recognized the panic building inside her and stepped forward with heartfelt encouragement, reminding Trina exactly why she belonged there in the first place. Her confidence helped steady Trina's nerves, but it was Giovanni Gio Palmieri who truly completed the emotional support she needed. As a loyal friend who understood both the excitement and terror of chasing a dream, Gio offered sincere words of reassurance that helped replace fear with determination. Together, Brooklyn and Gio reminded Trina that she wasn't facing this defining moment alone, allowing her to gather the courage necessary to embrace the opportunity standing before her. Before the performances even began, another important introduction quietly took place behind the scenes. Brooklyn introduced both Trina and Gio to Simon, the accomplished music executive who would ultimately determine whether their showcase opened the door to something much greater. Although the meeting was brief, there was an unmistakable energy the instant Simon and Trina came face to face. It wasn't loud or obvious, but there was a natural spark that seemed to linger between them almost immediately. Sometimes chemistry announces itself through dramatic fireworks, while other times it appears through subtle glances, comfortable conversations, and an unexpected sense of curiosity. From that first meeting, it felt as though something meaningful had quietly begun taking shape, leaving viewers wondering whether this chance encounter could eventually become far more than a professional partnership. That possibility becomes even more intriguing when compared to Trina's current romance with Kai Taylor. Although Kai and Trina certainly make an attractive couple and have weathered more than their fair share of emotional highs and painful lows together, many fans have struggled to feel the same passionate connection that once made Trina and Spencer Cassidy such an unforgettable pairing. There is affection between Trina and Kai, but something seems to be missing beneath the surface. The emotional electricity that once made every shared scene feel unforgettable. Their relationship has often appeared stable and pleasant rather than deeply compelling, leaving many viewers questioning whether it possesses the long-term spark necessary to carry Trina's story forward. With Simon now entering her orbit at precisely the right moment, it naturally raises the question of whether the chemistry fans have been longing for could finally be returning in an entirely new form. As the showcase officially got underway, Simon carefully observed both performers with the experienced eye of someone who had spent years discovering hidden talent. Interestingly, it was Gio's impressive guitar performance that initially captured Simon's attention more than Trina's singing. He openly shared his admiration for Gio's musicianship with Brooklyn, prompting her to gently remind him that this event had been organized to spotlight Trina's incredible vocal ability rather than shift the focus elsewhere. Brooke Lynn's protective response reflected just how deeply she believed in Trina's potential and how determined she remained to ensure this opportunity belonged to the young singer she had championed from the very beginning. Simon listened carefully, and instead of dismissing Brooke Lynn's concerns, he made a thoughtful decision that would soon reveal exactly what he believed Trina was capable of achieving. Following their first performance together, Simon approached Trina privately in the music room with constructive but encouraging advice. Rather than criticizing her talent, he explained that he wanted to see something more authentic emerge from within her. He challenged her to perform once again, but this time he encouraged her to let go of her fears, stop holding herself back, and completely surrender to the music. It wasn't simply about hitting the right notes or delivering a technically perfect performance. It was about allowing genuine emotion to pour into every lyric and every melody. Simon wasn't searching for perfection. He was searching for truth, vulnerability, and the kind of emotional connection that transforms an ordinary singer into an unforgettable artist. When Trina returned for her second performance, something extraordinary changed. The hesitation that had clouded her earlier moments seemed to disappear, replaced by a newfound confidence that radiated through every word she sang. This time, she didn't simply perform the music, she lived inside it, allowing every emotion to flow naturally from her heart into the performance. The difference was impossible to ignore. Simon's expression revealed everything before he even spoke, making it abundantly clear that he had finally witnessed exactly what he had been hoping to find. For the first time that day, he truly felt the emotion behind Trina's voice, and that powerful breakthrough suggested that she had unlocked a level of artistry capable of reaching audiences in ways she never had before. That unforgettable performance may prove to be the beginning of something much bigger than a successful showcase. The signs increasingly point toward a music deal being placed on the table for Trina and possibly Gio as well, creating an exciting future where Simon becomes an increasingly permanent presence in both of their lives. Professional collaborations often demand long hours, creative discussions, and countless moments spent working toward a shared vision. As Trina's music career begins accelerating, Simon will likely remain at the center of that journey, mentoring her, challenging her, and helping shape the artist she ultimately becomes. It doesn't take much imagination to picture the two growing closer through their mutual passion for music, gradually building a connection founded on trust, admiration, and creative inspiration. Sometimes the strongest relationships aren't born from dramatic romance at first. They emerge naturally as two people pursue the same dream side by side. If that emotional bond continues growing, it could create unexpected complications for Trina's relationship with Kai. While Kai remains connected to the ongoing Drew Kane storyline and continues working alongside Willow Kane, those story connections don't necessarily guarantee a permanent future on the canvas. Actor Jens Austin Astrup currently appears as a recurring cast member, making Kai's long-term future far less certain than some of Port Charles's more established residents. Once the current storyline surrounding Drew eventually reaches its conclusion, Kai could quietly fade into the background or even leave town altogether. Should that happen, Trina's path may naturally begin leading her towards someone whose future feels far more connected to her own evolving ambitions. Simon could easily become that person, especially if their growing partnership continues strengthening both on stage and off. Looking ahead, one of the most fascinating questions surrounding Trina's future is whether Simon could ultimately create the kind of unforgettable on-screen chemistry that fans once celebrated between Trina and Spencer Cassadine. That is certainly no small comparison, considering how deeply viewers invested themselves in Trina and Spencer's emotional journey together. Yet chemistry cannot be manufactured. It either develops naturally or it doesn't. The early moments between Simon and Trina already hint at something promising, built not only upon attraction but also upon mutual respect, artistic understanding, and shared passion. As Simon takes the lead in guiding Trina's rapidly evolving music career, those professional interactions may slowly blossom into a relationship that feels authentic, layered, and emotionally compelling. If that happens, viewers could witness the birth of a completely new love story that stands proudly alongside Trina's most memorable romances. General Hospital spoilers continue to suggest that Trina's life is on the verge of changing in extraordinary ways as her music career begins reaching heights she never imagined possible. Success has a remarkable way of transforming every part of a person's world, opening doors while simultaneously forcing difficult choices that cannot be avoided forever. As fame, opportunity, and creative fulfillment begin calling her toward an exciting future, Trina may eventually find herself questioning whether Kai still belongs beside her on that journey. Meanwhile, Simon's constant presence, unwavering belief in her talent, and growing emotional connection could slowly become impossible to ignore. The road ahead promises professional triumphs, personal discoveries, and romantic uncertainty unlike anything Trina has faced before. Whether this rising star ultimately leaves Kai behind in pursuit of something greater with Simon remains one of the most intriguing possibilities waiting to unfold, and fans will undoubtedly be watching every emotional step of the journey to see where her heart finally leads her. Even as the excitement surrounding Trina's showcase begins to settle, it feels as though the real story is only just beginning. One unforgettable performance has the power to change everything, but it is what happens after the applause fades that often defines a person's future. For Trina, this showcase wasn't simply another chance to sing in front of an audience. It was the moment when someone with genuine influence finally saw the artist she was capable of becoming. Simon's reaction during her second performance wasn't the response of a casual observer. It was the look of someone who had discovered untapped potential and wanted to explore just how far that talent could go. If his growing interest continues, Trina could soon find herself stepping into a world filled with recording sessions, industry meetings, career-defining decisions, and opportunities that once seemed impossibly distant. That new chapter would naturally place Simon at the center of Trina's daily life, creating countless opportunities for their relationship to deepen beyond simple business conversations. Every rehearsal, every creative brainstorming session, and every difficult artistic challenge would allow them to understand one another on a much more personal level. Simon has already shown that he isn't interested in surface-level performances or manufactured emotions. Instead, he appears determined to push Trina toward becoming the most authentic version of herself, encouraging her to embrace vulnerability instead of hiding behind fear. That kind of mentorship often builds an extraordinary level of trust, and trust can quietly evolve into something far more meaningful before either person even realizes it. As the two continue working together, those early sparks from their first introduction may slowly transform into a connection that feels impossible to ignore. Meanwhile, Kai may find himself standing on increasingly uncertain ground without even realizing it. While there is no question that he genuinely cares about Trina, relationships often struggle when life begins pulling two people in completely different directions. Trina's world appears ready to expand beyond Port Charles as her dreams finally begin taking flight, while Kai remains tied to storylines involving Drew Kane and his work with Willow Kane. Their priorities, schedules, and futures may gradually become less aligned, creating emotional distance that neither of them initially intended. Sometimes relationships don't fall apart because of betrayal or dramatic conflict. They simply drift apart as life changes the people within them. If Trina becomes consumed by the demands of a rapidly growing music career, maintaining the same closeness with Kai could become far more difficult than either of them expects. There is also something undeniably compelling about the contrast between Kai and Simon. Kai represents stability, familiarity, and a relationship that has already been tested through various emotional obstacles. Simon, however, represents possibility, ambition, and an entirely new world filled with excitement and discovery. He sees Trina not only as someone worthy of love, but also as someone capable of achieving extraordinary things through her talent. That belief could become incredibly meaningful for Trina, especially if she begins doubting herself while navigating the competitive music industry. Having someone constantly reminding her of her potential may strengthen an emotional bond that extends far beyond professional admiration. Over time, admiration can evolve into affection, and affection can quietly become the foundation for a powerful romance. For longtime General Hospital viewers, comparisons between Simon and Spencer Cassadine are almost inevitable. Spencer and Trina shared a love story that resonated deeply with fans because it was built upon emotional intensity, unwavering loyalty, and unforgettable chemistry. Ever since Spencer's departure, many viewers have felt that Trina's romantic journey has lacked that same emotional spark, despite Kai's sincere efforts to make their relationship work. Simon's arrival introduces the possibility that Trina could once again experience a romance driven by passion, mutual inspiration, and meaningful emotional growth. While no one can truly replace what Spencer meant to Trina, a completely different love story could still capture audiences if it develops naturally. Rather than recreating the past, Simon may help Trina embrace an entirely new future, one defined by music, ambition, and a relationship built around shared dreams instead of shared history. As Trina's confidence continues growing, audiences may also witness a remarkable transformation in her personality. The nervous young woman who nearly froze before stepping onto the showcase stage may slowly evolve into a fearless performer capable of commanding audiences wherever she goes. Simon's guidance could play an enormous role in that transformation, helping her discover strengths she never realized she possessed. Every success would reinforce her belief in herself, while every setback would offer another opportunity for Simon to remind her why she deserves this chance. Through those moments of triumph and struggle, their connection would naturally become stronger, creating emotional layers that could make every future scene between them feel increasingly significant. Viewers often become invested in relationships that grow through shared experiences, and Trina and Simon seem perfectly positioned for exactly that kind of gradual emotional journey. Of course, nothing in Port Charles ever unfolds without unexpected complications waiting around the corner. A promising music career could bring pressure, jealousy, professional rivalries, and difficult choices that test Trina in ways she has never experienced before. Success often attracts attention from both supporters and critics, and Trina may soon discover that fame carries emotional burdens alongside its rewards. Simon's role in helping her navigate those challenges could become just as important as his influence over her career. If he remains the person she turns to during her most vulnerable moments, the emotional intimacy between them may continue deepening until their feelings become impossible to deny. What begins as a professional partnership could quietly transform into one of General Hospital's most compelling romances. For now, everything remains filled with possibility rather than certainty, but the clues are becoming increasingly difficult to overlook. Simon's recurring role suggests that his story with Trina is far from over, while the success of her showcase has opened doors that may never close again. Every indication points toward a future where music becomes one of the defining forces in Trina's life, and Simon appears destined to play a major role in that evolution. Whether Kai can survive the growing distance between them, or whether Simon ultimately becomes the man standing beside Trina as her dreams come true, remains one of the biggest questions facing Port Charles. One thing is already clear, however: the showcase was never simply about launching a music career. It may have also marked the beginning of a life-changing emotional journey, one that could redefine Trina's future in ways no one saw coming and leave fans eagerly waiting to discover where her heart ultimately belongs.